Okay, everyone, welcome tonight, and I'd like to start off by calling to order the City of Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for September 8th, 2020. Could I get a roll call, Mr. Fetty?
Sure. Taking a look around, we got Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Tommy Roulette.
Present.
We got the Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine over there. And then we got City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, I don't have any announcements for the Board of Works tonight. Either you guys,
None, ma'am.
gentlemen, have anything?
None.
Okay, we got 3 sets of meetings to approve tonight, but I'll entertain a motion first to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we also had one Board of Works meeting for, it was a work session on August 20th. I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then one final one, we had a Board of Works work session on August 27th. Could I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. New business, I believe the new business item we have on there is no longer needed for tonight. So we'll just take it completely off the agenda. What that was, guys, was the agreement that we'd signed with the LCD because of the parking for the motorcycle track.
Mm-hmm.
But as you'll find out, the motorcycle track may not be happening this year, so no need for us to sign that agreement. So,
Do we need a motion to take it off or just?
no,
Good? Okay.
we just won't do anything with it.
Okay.
We're not gonna table it. That would make it go on next
I
week,
just didn't know if we needed.
or next
okay.
one.
Yeah.
Old business, Mr. Weldon, Speedway Rfp.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the Board of Public Works and Safety, we had a publication for a request for productions for the Lawrenceburg Speedway previously, and following the receipt of RFPs for that project, we decided to go ahead and republish the Speedway RFP. We did so in 3 national racing publications. All 3 national publications publish the RFP parameters on their websites. They put it on social media, and so I feel pretty comfortable, and hopefully you guys feel the same, that we got this out as far and as wide as we possibly could with all of the top level dirt track organizations that are national organizations. We wanted to make sure that everybody was given an equal opportunity to establish their proposed parameters for the track. We do have one RFP response, and the RFP called for these to be submitted prior to today's meeting. So since the meeting has commenced and it's past 6 o'clock, I'm going to open this RFP, and we can proceed as the board deems appropriate. But what I would recommend is that we review the parameters independently, and we can set a work session or do it in one of the regular public meetings. Does anybody have a knife? Soft hands on. Went to law school, so I didn't have to work in my grandpa's tobacco field. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for not making me like that. So what I would propose is, as long as it appears that they've satisfied the parameters, and what we have is a certified check, which is part of the financial requirement. We have a letter from a financial institution, and we have submittal forms submitted in the appropriate amount and bound. I would suggest that we all consider these, and then however it pleases the board to then review them at another meeting, so we can draft the agreement that will then control how the track is operated. So.
Okay, because this is a little different than what we've done in the past.
Okay.
So just for clarification, so we're not opening this back up. This gives this group of 5 gentlemen the ability to take a look at the RFP, and then be able to ask questions of who was it?
It's the Rudisell group that responded, RPM Productions.
And they will ask questions of them? Okay.
Yes, sir, Your Honor, and the difference between the RFP process and a traditional bid process is the bids are firm. What you see is what you get. You take the lowest bid. With the RFPs, they've responded to the information that we've requested, but we can now go back and engage with that group and form the contract. So some of these terms can change based on the pleasure of the board, and we can develop a contract in a group setting.
Okay.
So I'll pass these out if that's okay, and we could, I would just ask for, I guess, a motion to.
Take them under advisement, or?
That would be perfect. Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, the motion that I'm asking for is to take the RFP under advisement until a time soon that we can
Correct.
all get together to, you guys can be able to review it, but then get together back as a council to discuss any questions you may have for the Rudisell group. That work?
That'll work.
Want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion, we take it under advisement.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you to everyone for working on this project. I think it's gonna pay off.
Okay. Antique market lease.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. If it pleases the Board of Public Works and Safety, you have in your packets a proposed lease for the antique market. If we recall, this was something that was presented at a prior meeting, but we did not have the lease in the packets before the meeting, which was something that was my fault, and I wanted the board to have a full opportunity to review these terms before we vote. So just for the record's purpose, I would ask that we vote to, unless we approve this, and there actually were some changes that they made, so I would just ask for a vote to rescind the prior vote that we made on the antique market lease, and then we could consider this just as a new item, because the proprietor did already make some changes from the last draft, and you may want some changes as well.
Okay, so first, I want to get a motion to rescind the prior agreement on, or the prior lease that was put before this board.
And that was the one on 0/17 of 2020.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Excuse
Ross.
me, 08/17 of 2020.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Okay, second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the proposed agreement you have was, I changed this in form to a license agreement rather than a lease agreement. The license agreement, I think, is more appropriate based on the fact that this is a property instrument, but it's for just a limited part of the property that we own. It's not for the full part, and it's not full-time. It's only for the weekends in which the antique market operates. So lease agreement as a property instrument seemed to be more appropriate. There are blanks because there were some outstanding questions that I had to Mr. Metzger, the proprietor. So if you want, and Mr. Fetty, especially as the clerk treasurer, if you could just fill in as we go. But the company is still Bruce Metzger Incorporated. He just took that over. It's Aaron Metzger who we're dealing with, but he took over the company, and the company's name will stay the same. And for whatever it's worth, he stated he's been involved in the shows ever since they started 35 years ago, and has taken on a large role in the last 15 years and been in charge of many of the day-to-day operations in the last 15 years. Number 2, will you be signing on behalf of the company? Yes, he'll be signing. 3, what is the utility change that you're requesting? He states, I believe I answered that further below my response from January. I'd actually like the language to stay the same in the contract and implement procedures that mirrors that language. Procedure we have followed the last 4.5 years differs from that. So they had a little bit of, I think, maybe a dispute with the utilities, the way the utilities were handled. They're not asking that we change the agreement, which is just that they essentially pay for the utilities that they use. And see where that is in the contract. but they just felt that maybe they didn't work out so well in practice.
Don't see anything about the utilities.
Yeah, maybe I just think that. Okay, so if it's okay with the board, what I'll do is I'll just insert a line that says they're responsible for the utilities as used during the events, and LMU will read the meters for those events, and they would pay the utilities.
That is water and sewer, correct?
Yes. So
I guess it would probably just be water and then they do the sewer. And electric?
they use water, sewer, and electric. If we can read the meters for the electric, then we will, so I can get with Bill Kennett and just see how that works out as a practical matter. But the language of the contract would just say they're responsible for all utilities. And again, Mr. Metzger was stating that the arrangement was fine, but he felt maybe he wasn't billed appropriately. So we'll just make sure that, I think reading the meters would be the fairest way. So I would propose that that's the
Nobody
way to
thinks
use it.
they're red.
Yeah, exactly. Regarding the timeframes, he wanted to increase. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Regarding timeframes, he wanted to increase, and I already made that change to 8 o'clock, I believe, just because they said that they are. Or to 7 o'clock, so beginning at noon and ending at 7. I think it was 6 o'clock last year. So I went ahead and put 7 in. I can change that, but he just stated that would better help him, you know, tear down and do all the things that you need to do.
How's that do on nights of races, Dave?
That's gonna be
Kim?
my question, too.
Not a problem.
Okay.
He-
Change the time? Is that on? Is that
Well, he takes, it says in here, he takes it over like at noon on Saturdays until like 7 PM on Sunday. But that's,
I'm Aaron.
okay,
Hey, there he is.
Basically, we're there till about 7 o'clock cleaning up. That's
okay.
all it is.
That's what you need is the extra time to clean up.
I can address the utilities. Basically, the contract reads that I'm to pay an averaged amount in advance for the utilities. And the practice that we've developed is I actually walk around, count how many people are using electrical outlets, and I get charged $5 per person. It's essentially just time consuming for me to do that. I'd rather pay an averaged amount in advance.
What kind of calculation is that, I wonder?
Yeah.
It's what we came up with.
We'll come up with something that's more precise.
Would it be okay, Mr. Metzger, if the language just said you'll pay for utilities as used, and then?
That's fine as well.
Okay.
Basically, it's during the show, my time is scarce, so
Yeah.
I can't really walk 10 feet during the show without engaging in several conversations.
Okay.
But to touch on your question, Mayor, is his time, that extension is fine. It's on Sunday night anyhow. And he has the noon, which we work great together on coordinating everything. Maybe we
Okay.
did some cow farm, so good stuff. It works out well. We work well together on that. So.
All right, that's good.
Name and address change, that's fine. We'll just change that language. Aaron, I'm glad you're here. So you're aware that one of the weekends did get booked. So there's a wedding right now on the books, and that's okay. You'll work around that.
I wouldn't say it's okay, but it's, we'll do what we have to do.
Okay.
We'll figure something out.
Okay, fair enough. And then the last term, and the most important term probably for everyone, is do we want this to be a year-to-year arrangement, or do we want this arrangement, I would say at the longest, to run until December 31st, the end of the year in 2023, because that's all that this group is responsible for as we sit here. So it could be year-to-year, or we could extend it out till then.
I would rather we do it year to year, because you never know what might pop up.
And we can make it renew automatically unless we give 30 days notice, just for ease, if we feel 1 year that we don't even want to revisit it. Mr. Metzger, would that be okay with you if we do year to year? It's automatic or renewable unless we provide 30 days notice. to you? I know you want a longer-term deal, but
Yeah, in the past, we've gotten accustomed to 5-year leases at a time. I don't know if I kind of was under the impression I'd give a speech and I had one all prepared.
oh no, we don't. I'm the only
No
one who
speeches.
gives boring speeches.
But basically, I feel like the event is good for the city of Lawrenceburg, for the community. It's literally the largest antique show in the state of Indiana. If you do a Google search for Indiana antique show, we're at the top of the list.
We agree with that 100%. It's, you know, this group, and I don't want to speak for the group, but it's just been the practice to do year to year. We've done that with other agreements, so it's not that we don't value your event, because we really do. So I'll get those changes in, and with those changes, if the board wants to vote, then we can.
I know
You
as
guys-
members of city council here, what's your feelings on all this as well?
Yeah, I'll go with you. I mean,
What
It's
are
a
you
good
saying,
event.
this is year to year, or 5 years, or what are you,
Year to year.
what are you asking?
Year to year.
yeah.
Well, the original one that they-
Year's fine with me. I don't wanna do 5 though, like Mr. Weldon said. But I don't think we need to do anything outside of
Well, I
this,
think you,
this limit here.
I
How
think you
about-
proposed it end of 2023. Dell, is that originally what you were proposing? That
Oh,
We-
I'd say end of 2021. I do year to year.
How about year to
Do one of
year
those.
with automatic renewal
Unless
up
we
to a
give,
term of 3 years? That way we don't have to revisit unless we decide we want
Yeah,
to.
it automatically it will renew, Aaron, after, if nobody 30 days prior approaches you or you don't approach us. So it'll be
Yep.
an automatic renewal.
And going forward, as far as booking the Agner Hall, I'm not gonna, those dates will be locked. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that again.
Yeah, we
That
won't,
was
I got
partly my fault on the office over there, but it was, going forward, it's not, even though if the contract is year to year, I will keep the dates open until something happens where we're saying that it's not gonna be year to year, or basically you say, hey, we're not gonna renew the contract.
Okay. Agreeable to you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We gotta pause the Board of Works meeting. We got a scheduled and advertised public hearing on the Dowdy Road cul-de-sac vacation plat for 6:15, so we're 2 minutes over. So I'd like to give anyone in the audience an opportunity to speak about that issue if there is one.
and Michael, just present summary.
You guys present now during the public
Yeah,
hearing?
it won't take long. In your packets, there are 2 survey plats, vacation plats. The first one is 2 sheets, which it is NDOT owned right-of-way. The second survey is a single sheet, shows between a relocated cul-de-sac and NDOT's right-of-way. We have a proposed development in that area, and council's already voted to show support for this, to relocate the cul-de-sac. But we do need to vacate any rights that the city has in that area. Also, afterwards on this, I would like a certification of the survey plats, but it's very simple. We're not losing the cul-de-sac. We're moving it 300 feet to the east. So if anyone's got any questions.
Anybody in the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. It's 6:20, and we'll call to order the Board of Works meeting, getting back to the antique market lease. So I'm asking Board of Works members, so the motion on the floor then would be to enter in this agreement on the antique market with the changes that were prescribed or described, and then I'll sign that as soon as that new form is given to me.
So moved, Mayor.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And Mr. Weldon, motorcycle track lease.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. If it pleases the Board of Public Works and Safety, we have a bit of bad news. The person with whom we have engaged to operate our motorcycle track and with whom we have a lease has indicated to me and also to Mario Todd that he will not be able to run the motorcycle track this year or in the future. He stated that he had some personal issues that I don't think we need to go into, but basically that his decision is final. I asked him, at first he asked us, if you guys remember, if he could pay his lease amount for the year at the end of November instead of August 1st when it was due. We allowed him to do that, and I think in the meantime, he's decided that he can't run it at all, which makes things a little bit difficult because if the shutdown was due to COVID, let's say, and he wanted to ask that his rent maybe apply to next year, but if he's just saying he's never gonna run it again, then we have to decide what we do moving forward. As the mayor indicated, we also had on the agenda tonight our lease of the parking, which now we don't need to do. But then we've got to figure out, okay, who runs the motorcycle track next year, and what do we do with this individual, because now they owe the rent for the year. So all of those things are completely up to your discretion.
Did he do one race or any races at all?
Did any?
Yeah, as far as I know, he didn't do anything. And for what it's worth, he cited health issues. He said he had some health issues. He's been very responsive. Seems like a very nice guy. I remember when he was in here last year, he was a very nice young guy. But
Was it when he called the first time to get the extension on the lease payment? Did he mention health issues then?
I would say overall, my perception was that he was really trying to make it work.
Okay.
And I think he was really honest with us, and that's just for whatever it's worth because he was so responsive. He mentioned that maybe his uncle Herschel would want to start running the track again, but you know, he can't really speak for Herschel, so I don't know if that's really an option. I think the main thing to decide tonight would be what we do with his lease and the lease payment.
I would say that we move forward with it and he pay what was agreed upon, personally. And then if he's finished with it and he puts it in writing that he is, then we need to go out for RFPs with that as well.
Do you want to make the full year's payment, or you just want to do it monthly?
I would say, I mean, he had made a commitment earlier on this year that he was gonna pay it at a certain time this year, correct, Mr. Weldon?
Yes, sir.
And something comes since then, but, you know, there we were the whole year with a motorcycle track that we thought they were gonna run. I understand they had health issues, but it was still under a lease agreement. And it's not that substantial amount of money. I mean, money's money, but.
Well, if we would have known this earlier in the year, we could have maybe
We're in the,
Right.
September.
running it or something.
So it's the rent payment is $3,000 for the entire year. It was a lump sum due August 1st. We gave him to the end of November, and he's indicated that he's just not going to run the track at all. So,
And is that verbally, or is he giving you something in writing?
the pay it by the end of November was in writing. That was in email, and also we voted. So I guess if we want to pursue it, we would just I could notify him tonight that we voted. He's to pay it. We give him till the end of November like we agreed, and then we take whatever steps after that. And I can do that.
Okay, then, motion on the floor.
Correct. Go ahead and pay
In regards to the
amount.
motorcycle track lease that the individual that entered into the agreement would pay in full by November 1st as stated.
I think it was the end of November.
November 30th.
30th, yes, sir.
As stated in a previous meeting. So I need a motion.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries.
And I'll report back the first meeting in December and give everyone an update.
So, when should we go out for RFPs for next year?
We can do that. We can do it as soon as you want.
Should we have the letter from him stating that he's no longer interested in it first, or?
Well, he had a year-to-year agreement anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So I think we can just go on, do it.
It'd be too late to run it this year anyway.
Well, yeah, nobody's gonna run it again the rest of this year, but
Are they not? And I
Next
just
year.
want to ask a question. I mean, he's gotta pay for the whole year.
Yeah.
But what if he's got a buddy, or let's just say one of us had a buddy, and we said, hey, we'll run it for the rest of the year to help you make up the payment? Because if he's sick, can he do that?
I think he tried. I mean, I think he did try.
He
It's
did
just-
try to do that?
Yeah, and now it's, you know, it's so late.
I mean, if
in the
he
year.
comes back to us and wants to do something for the remainder of the year, I don't wanna just take his money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And he's got, I mean, that's the thing, you know, that, we're asking for payment because he had a lease for the year, so he had
Binding lease.
exclusive use of that whole track for the whole year. So yeah, if he got something down there and, made enough money to pay the lease, then that would be fine, I think.
Then we'd have to revisit the parking lot issue again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We sure would.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, any other old business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Just so you know, we're gonna open up the next meeting, but we'll have to stop at 6:30 for a public hearing on, city storm drainage. So, I'd like to call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Parks and Playgrounds agenda meeting for September 8th, 2020. With a roll call, please.
Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Justin Nobbert.
Yes, sir.
Board Member Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Board Member Lenny Fryman.
Here.
Board Member Brett Bondurant.
Yes, sir.
City Attorney Dale Wilton.
Here.
President Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
All right, any announcements regarding parks and playgrounds?
I have none.
Okay, I don't have any for this meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed. Motion carries. New business, I got a couple things, just requests, people wanting to get on the, one wanting to get on the calendar for next year, and one wanting to get on the calendar for this year. We've got the Special Olympics fire truck poll. They want to have it on August 28th, 2021 of next year. Looks like it fits the calendar. So, any questions about that one? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Is that gonna be a Civic Park again?
I'm sorry?
Civic Park again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I'll make a motion.
All right, second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Johnny, do you think you put Lenny on your team?
Oh, yeah.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
He's ready. Coming out of retirement. Coming out of retirement. All right, the next one is the NAMI Mental Health Awareness Walk on October 3rd, 2020. Any questions? Now I'll entertain a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I have no other new business nor old business for this particular meeting. What else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and open up the call to order of City of Lawrenceburg Council for September 8, 2020. Everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We'll go ahead and give us a roll call, Mr. Fetty, before we...
Yep, I'll do this real quick. Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Here.
Councilperson Justin Nobbert.
Yes, sir.
Councilperson Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Councilperson Lenny Fryman.
Present.
Councilperson Brett Bondurant.
Yes, sir.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine. City Attorney Dale Wilton.
Here.
Mayor Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, it's 6:30, so I would, we're going to pause the council meeting at 6:30 for the public hearing on the city storm drainage project. Cindy, are you, Susan, both?
Both of us.
Both of you, come on up.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on up.
I guess I better,
Stay 6 feet apart.
So we are, first of all, so we have to have a sign-in sheet. And rather than pass this around, if you don't have a name plaque in front of you, or if you haven't already responded, to a roll call, could we go around the room and ask everyone to say who they are so I can record the attendance for the record?
This is just for the grant
public
purposes.
hearing, yes.
So everyone's knowing, we're not gonna contact trace you or anything.
Well, not in that.
Well, we may have to, but
I
yeah.
say that. No, hopefully.
So, I don't know, Mark, you wanna start?
Sure. It's Mark Emerald,
Chief already.
the Mark Emerald.
Oh, what was that? I'm sorry.
Anthony,
Anthony Smart.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I got Judy down. You got Guinevere down?
I got one out here. I didn't recognize her from the back.
Mr. Metzger?
Eric Metzger.
Dave Russo? And Kim Russo? And Connie Canoe? You didn't think I'd know who you are with that mask on?
I'm not
She was hoping not.
Welcome
Perfect.
back, Connie.
Perfect.
Been a while.
Well, I just want to say a few comments to start with. My name is Susan Craig, for those of you who don't know me, and I work with the Southeastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission. And I am working with the city on putting together a application for a storm drainage project, which is actually the pump station on Dowry.
Dowdy.
So I'm not going to go into the actual details of the project description. Cindy's going to do that. She's got a brief PowerPoint put together. But this is a lengthy process. We are applying to the Office of Community and Rural Affairs for a community development block grant. Probably in the $600,000 category. The total project cost is over $1 million. We will get the total specifics. I think you're still kind of developing that, but we'll be also holding another second public hearing. We are here because part of the grant process requires public participation and getting input from the public, answering questions, so that's why we're here tonight. We will be submitting a proposal on September 24th, and we will put in a full application the week before Thanksgiving. So I will ask Cindy to take the floor, and after Cindy is finished, if there are any comments or questions, we'd like to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Good evening. I'm Cindy Fort with American Structure Point. Can you hear me through this? Okay. All right. Cindy Fort with American Structure Point, the lead engineer for the project. We have been working with Mike and his staff since early this year to develop this project to define what elements are bad in the Dowdy Road storm sewer system. Just as a kind of an understanding of the storm sewer system on Dowdy Road, which is also connected to the storm sewer in, I'm going to call it Dearborn Plaza because that's what I know it as, Millhouse Market. All that storm sewer discharges to Tanner Creek through this flap gate. It is, I don't know how old because nobody's got drawings of it. It's cast iron, and it was manufactured the way they used to do them. It hangs vertically. So when there's debris that gets into, like when the gate opens with water pushing through it and then debris gets stuck in it, it won't close tight. So when the river comes up, the Ohio River comes up and backs up in Tanner's Creek, that gate has to close or the water in the creek goes into the storm sewer. And when it's really bad, it looks like this. This is 1997. Not all of you will remember this. But this is what happened. Now that was a really big storm, high river level and a lot of water, rain. That gate didn't shut tight, so the river all backed up. The reason we're doing this stormwater project, really the Okra grants are about the residences, not so much the businesses. But the businesses rely on the residents rely on the businesses. And that gray van that's driving on Dottie Road in about 3 seconds turns into the big blue parking lot and turns around because the road's closed. It's flooded. And otherwise there'd be a fire rescue required. Oh wait, a water rescue. So the issue is that Dottie Road floods and it impacts the people that live in the apartments, and it impacts everybody that wants to go from eastbound on 50 now up Old 48 or to Industrial Drive. It impacts people coming down from westbound on 50. So this is the storm gate. In '99, the city took action because of this big storm event and installed this slide gate, which is a physical gate that goes down on that crank, pushes down physically, so somebody gets called out. At 2 o'clock in the morning when the river comes up, they get an alarm. They close that down. And then there's this pump station that got built along with the gate to pump the rainwater into the creek. Because the gate closes the storm sewer off. So if it's raining, you'd flood because of the rain. So in the past 21 years since this was constructed, the city has done maintenance on this system. They've been taking care of it. But regardless of that, the gate in particular has started to have operational problems that are becoming more cost effective to replace the gate than to repair it. One of the things that happens is the gate jams in the track, and yeah, I could see these buttons. All right. That silver thing in the middle is the gate stem. And it's got a screw on the top of it that when you turn the crank, it raises the gate. Well, if something sticks in it, and it did once, the actual concrete top lifted up with the gate. So now there are steel brackets that hold the top to the walls. It's a nice repair, not too bad. That's another picture of the gate. It's partially open, which is how it is most of the time until the river comes up. But you can see that it's starting to get rusty. And then the real problem is that the fasteners were not all stainless steel, and they are corroding to the point where they are at risk of failure. Failure of this gate coupled with a failure of the flap gate not closing in a storm event would result in flood on Dottie Road and the shops and the senior apartments again. This is a picture of the pump station. There are 3 pumps that do a good job of pumping out the stormwater. They cannot keep up with the inflow from Tanner's Creek. They're not that big. The problem with these pumps is that they are now obsolete and they can't get parts for them. So why do we need to do something now? Pumps and gates take 3 to 5 months to get manufactured and delivered. So if next time we have a flood, one of those pumps goes down, then we don't have enough pumping capacity. And it's not like they've got one on the shelf here. Same with the gate. So over the course of the project, working with Mike and his staff, we've come up with these items to include in the project. To replace the sluice gate and add an automatic operator, electric operator, so that it can operate faster. And we are going to try to connect it to a river gauge level to the operator, so that when the river comes up to a certain elevation, that the operator automatically closes. It saves a call out in the middle of the night, lets staff do other things, then go close that gate. They'll go check it, I'm sure. But it lets the gate get started before anybody gets there. We want to add a fixed diesel generator to run the pumps, so that if the power's out during a storm, the pumps will run. We want to include a bypass pump connection to the force main. There are 3 force mains, one for each of those 3 pumps. The only way, if there's no power and there's the controls go out, the only way to pump water from the storm system to Tanner's Creek is to put it overland across Bilby Road, which is going to have a big impact on traffic, which is what we're trying to avoid. So to put in a bypass pump connection and valves so that you can bring a portable pump and pump into the force main, so it's all underground. To replace the storm pumps and correct an electrical code issue. To replace the flap gate. There's a section of ditch in the southwest corner of Bilby and Industrial Drive that is riprap. There's a storm drain that comes from the parking lot. Okay, I'm going to call it Big Blue again because I haven't memorized the new guys.
That's fine.
That drains into that outlet, that ditch, and then from that ditch, there's a big box culvert that goes over to Tanner's Creek. That section of ditch has the worst flow characteristics of all the pipes coming into it. It doesn't transport as much flow through it as comes in, which can let the water back up through the storm drain into the parking lot, and then the parking lot runs overland down to Dowdy Road, contributing to more stormwater that we're trying to pump out. So if we fix this little bit of ditch, then it won't back up into the parking lot. Then the last thing is to improve access to the flap gate by installing stairs so that staff can get down there more safely. That's a very steep slope from Dowdy Road down, and if it's wet or icy, that looks like an injury to me. So that's all told right now, we're at $906,000. So question is, as Susan said, the Okra grants are based on how many people it impacts. Our theory to start with was that Dowdy Road is traveled by everybody in Lawrenceburg. It certainly is used by the police and fire and the ambulance crews. So, but we were curious how many people actually use it. So we did a traffic count, and one might say this is a terrible year to do traffic counts because of COVID, so we delayed until the end of July. We did a Friday and a Saturday count. We counted cars at the intersection of Bilby and Dowdy Road on all 3 legs, and then up at 48 where Bilby comes out, all 3 legs there. The red line is traffic on Dowdy Road 2,100 cars on Friday, almost 1,200 on Saturday. There's 5 and 6 are on 48, so you can see that 48 carries a lot of traffic. Line 4 is the flow from 48 down Bilby. So again, 1,700 to 1,200 cars a day. And then 1 and 2 are one is the flow on Bilby, I guess I'd call that northbound, and 2 is southbound. So you can see, and you all know this anyway, because you can't, if you're coming down Bilby, you have to go on Dowdy Road or into the parking lot. So there's 3,500 cars that make that motion, most of whom are going into the parking lot. Some of them probably go on up Industrial Drive. So to us, this indicates that it's not how many people live in the apartment? 60? I forget the number. 40 units in the apartments. There's a lot more people that use Dowdy Road than just the apartment dwellers. As Susan said, we want to fund this project predominantly with the Okra grant money, which can be up to $600,000. The remainder of the money would come from local stormwater funds. One of the really important things to win an Okra grant is public participation. Susan and Judy just had a kind of a pre-meeting with the people at the senior apartments. Letters of support can be sent to Judy, and her email address is there, or Mike. Either email them or physically here to the office. We're going to do an electronic survey that will be up in a few days on the city's website that has 8 questions about how this project would impact you. And that'll be up in a few days. I hit the wrong button. Yeah, so here is wrong button. Anyway, I'm done. If I could get it to go big again.
Any questions for Cindy?
Yeah, questions and comments.
Mike and I have had some discussions about this over the last few months. If we can't get the full amount of the grant, I mean, there's ways to cut this down and not cut down on the needed items.
Mayor, honestly, every one of the items is needed, but they're not ranked by priority. And
Well,
yes, if we don't get funded, we're gonna have to prioritize and evaluate.
For instance, the bypass connection, $220,000. If we had to, we'd run something over the top of the road and,
Right.
you know, so that's one thing. Stairs is another. If we didn't have the funds. You know, there's 300,000+ that we probably could take out of the project if we don't get fully funded. Because I mean, the project has to be done. We've come to that conclusion. I mean, it's going to have to be done because we don't. Number one, we don't want another 1997. I remember people telling me about it because I was really young back then.
Or you think you're kidding?
Brett, you told me about it.
No, wasn't me.
Brett wasn't born.
Just born.
He was probably. Yeah, Mike.
Mayor, I see we've got John Tremaine here with the fire department. I'd really like to hear from an emergency responder, their thoughts on this.
Hey, you don't get an hour. You know how
Okay,
you
I'm
go.
going to PG Gentrip mode.
Oh, no.
Oh, there you go.
No, Johnny Tremaine, Lawrenceburg Fire Department. I was asked back in May about submitting a letter in regards to this project. And firsthand, I was involved in the '97 flood, which was a disaster. Also, and some key points, we talked about senior housing. That's a big deal if we run into some flooding at this magnitude again. Because we got displaced. I was actually going to talk to Jim Crook today just to see how many lived there, because I knew there was somewhere from 30 to 40 apartments. So, but I'm glad Judy had that number. But anyway, of course, the senior apartments. This is flooding Dowdy Road. I believe that was was that a 200-year flood we had? They call it, or five?
No, that was about 75.
Okay, 75-year flood. So, I mean, the chances are we're going to get a bigger flood next time. Could, the way they predict this stuff. So, along with Dowdy Road, I mean, we got to think about Bilby Road, because if we get up on 50, we have Bilby Road's our saving grace. Everybody makes fun of our bridge, but if you think about our flyover bridge, you shut the floodgate. Where's our access going? We're going right up Old Bilby, okay? Because they made the flyover to go over.
What if we didn't have the flyover when we had to do the railroad repair last year?
Exactly. Exactly. So, our second station's on the hill. Of course, our hospital's on the hill, and a lot of residents are on the hill. So, I really think this is a very important project for us. And something we need to consider, and hopefully this grant will go through. So, thank you.
Any comments from this group?
I know she's gonna ask the neighbors, everybody can get the, isn't the community mental health in the shopping center still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you get with them.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, there's probably a lot more business there nowadays than there was back in '97.
Oh, yeah.
The way it's broken down.
My sister-in-law had a business in there in '97, got completely wiped. Okay. Anything else from the audience? Anyone?
Anybody else? Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Getting back to our meeting, we'll go through announcements, board reports, streets, alleys, curbs, downtown. Mr. Abbott.
Nothing to report, except I got one question.
Yes.
The alley from Mexican restaurant up to Acapulco's up to like where R&L or
Euphemia.
KOI.
Euphemia Street.
Yeah, the alley behind Euphemia and St. Clair, I guess.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
It's in between Arch and St. Clair.
All right. I'm getting complaints from neighbors that it smells like gas sometimes. I went over and I didn't smell no gas. I'm kind of thinking, Mike, it might be storm sewer maybe. If there's
Storm sewage on Bay Street in front of our house.
Hey, can we get somebody to check the storm sewers, see if they need to be flushed?
Yeah, sure.
We can take a look at it.
'Cause I know sometimes when the storm sewers get plugged up with a bunch of leads, it gets a lot of methane gas coming up and it stinks pretty bad. That used to happen on Elm Street a lot.
Yeah, we can get the guys to go over and stick a
Yep.
camera down in there and see what it's starting to look like.
We got a nice back truck.
So that's from Euphemia Street and the alley all the way down to Miss Canoe's.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
What about you, Mr. Fryman?
All I
On
can
the
say,
hill?
all I can say is I'm glad he didn't ask for those speed bumps, because we're out. But everything's fine on the hill.
Well, that's good to hear. All right. Finance, Brett Bondurant.
No report, Mayor.
Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Noppert.
Nothing new, sir.
And Fire, Tom Roulette.
No report, Mayor.
Okay, I will give you an update on this. We are checking in with different playground folks on the upgrading of Arch Street. So that's coming. We'll probably be a couple months. We got 3 or 4 groups looking at it now to see what it's gonna cost to get everything back to new, what we're wanting. So, you know, a bunch of upgrades over there. So just hang with us on that. But Mario's working on that. I know he's got 2. He had a second person in this week. And we're even looking for another person or 2 to come and give us a price.
How's it going with the handicap swings?
Handicap swings. We had a meeting. I'm glad you asked. We had a meeting with Greendale. Steve Lampert came out because they had one to put up too. Everybody's throwing their hands up. Don't know what to do next because when you we had Mike Abden involved as well. I think it was us, Greendale, and Hidden Valley each got one. And the problem is sticking to the ADA codes. Okay. You stick to the ADA codes, they almost want you to segregate that playground from the rest of the playground. And I don't like that idea.
No.
If there's a way we can integrate it, is what I want to do, is integrate it. So we're looking at that, but that's why we had Steve Lampert out. We actually had a meeting last Thursday, to see what they were going to do. They're waiting on us because they don't have any answer. You watch the video on it, it doesn't seem like it should require much, that big of an area. But ADA states, I think it was 40 by 21, 40 foot by 21 foot.
It's
for
very
the one
large
swing.
area.
For the one swing.
Are they worried about children running behind it or in front of it and getting hit with it?
No. I think it's just falling out of it, things like that. But the other problem is they recommend that you keep it locked up until somebody wants to use it. This is all in the video. And we said, well, how in the world would you do that at the park, you know?
Park attendance.
And Steve Lampert said that there are pickleball nets out there in Greendale. If you want a pickleball net, you have to go and sign it out at the police station. Because I guess people are stealing pickleball nets.
I can't imagine it would get much use after that.
Well, I think they're afraid then kids would get on it and be riding it for the wrong reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously we all look at each other and say, well, the parents need to control their kids, right? Well, we know how that goes sometimes. But so that's why, you know, there's a few things that come into play. That's why it's been such a, I don't want to say it's a problem. They'll figure it out. But that's why it hasn't gone up like that.
Did we buy this?
No, actually the American Legion donated, I think, 3 of them. One for us, one for Greendale, and one for Hidden Valley, I think.
I wonder, because I know we're not moving real quickly on the project over on the levee, but you know, we talked about all that concrete space. I wonder if one of those areas could be allocated with.
Well, for this one, I don't know how much use you get up there, you know, but other swings, of course. But you know what I'm saying? This is a pretty unique swing. You can actually roll your wheelchair onto the swing part of it, and then it clamps you in, and you swing back and forth. But and then it says they want supervision around the clock on it. Well, you can read that a couple different ways. You can read it, okay, if somebody's there and has an adult with them, that's supervision, right? But then when you read further, and they called and asked about this, well, they recommend that there's people that have some kind of a watch on that at all times. Well, when the park's being used 24 hours a day, I mean, it just doesn't seem feasible. You know, it just doesn't seem pliable. But so anyway, we're working on it. Hang with us. I know, so I'd been questioning Mario, and he said, you know, Mary said, I can't find anybody to give me any spec, or not specs, but any information on how they've put these in other places. You know, by codes. I mean, you've got to stick by the codes.
I'd say because they probably didn't put them by codes. That's why
Well,
they didn't give no information
I didn't want to
out.
say that, but you know, I don't want to, and I don't want to suggest that. So, but anyway, that's where we're at. Hope that helps. What else? Just so you know, I wanted to make all of council aware. State Route 48, older 48, we're talking about old 48, right? How important it is, and it is important for this area, even with the new cut in the hill. But obviously, if you've been down old 48, well, if you've lived around here a long time, you know the problem you've always had with slips there for years. And back when NDOT owned the road, they go in and fix, go back a few years later and fix it. Same thing's happening. So we obviously wanted to get some opinion on getting it fixed. Obviously, we had a plan put together. We were going to use our community crossings money from our grants, along with some of our money, and get this thing fixed. It's going to be $2.5 to $3 million. I think, Mike, right? We've got an engineer's estimate to fix it right, or we hope it's right. So when they came out and announced that community crossings grants were not going to happen this year, because community crossings grants are in the state, provided by the state of Indiana, they're done through gas tax. Everybody during COVID wasn't driving, so the gas tax sort of didn't happen. But all the legislators are saying next year they'll be coming back, but we needed a fix now, right? So we had some engineers come out, Mike and Mario, Mike Abden, were all involved as well. And the safest fix we have until we can get it fixed right is to close off 48 at Riviera. It's going to be barricaded off, and then barricaded on the top end at Heiner Heights. Okay, so if you need to access Riviera housing on down, you'll have to come from the bottom of the hill. If you want to access Heiner Heights on up, you'll have to come from the cut in the hill, the new 48. Temporarily, we had a community meeting with the Riviera folks last week about it. I got a meeting with Carl Gailey tomorrow. We're obviously have first responders folks put in with the meetings. Mike Evans getting with them, and then next week on the 16th, we're having a meeting for the folks on the top of the part of the hill, up at the firehouse on the hill, to answer any of their questions, just to make people as aware of it. We'll have some we call it those boards, message boards, you know, to telling people what's going on. But, you know, I want people to know it is temporary. We just don't know how temporary. You know, we're going to, obviously, we'll be reapplying for our community crossing grants. And the great thing about when we apply for our community crossing grants for the next, 3 cycles is what we're planning, our roads are in really good shape around here. I mean, we just did another slew of them up on the hill this year with community crossings. So we're very fortunate that we can use this money to focus on that one area for the next probably at least 3 cycles, probably at least 2 cycles, probably 3. So just so everybody knows what's coming.
You say that it's temporary. How long? You have no idea.
Well, we don't think we'll probably be up and doing anything for at least a year.
What will we do in inclement weather when we know how the new State Route 48 will be shut down at times because of being icy, and most people take that road down to the bottom of the hill?
Well, it's we're going to have to probably work with NDOT. If they need us to step up more often on the new cut in the hill, we will, to ensure the access to the hospital and things like that. We normally do that anyway. Not all the time. Sometimes when things come up on them quick, NDOT can't get here quick enough, we take it over and do
right.
it.
There's been
But
a few
yeah, we're going to
occasions
work closely with them, and you're right. I mean, inclement weather. I mean, I take old 48 a lot of times because it's just I think it's easier to manage going,
right.
snaking down the road rather than going down that road. But
So they didn't give it any thought about putting a light at one end or the other?
we
maybe
went
just
through
using
all the
ones?
options, and we finally got an engineer to stamp the option that he gave us was the safest way to do this is to barricade it off. And that's what we were wanting, to an engineer's stamp on the set of plans. So it wouldn't be on our back, so to speak, if you want to say that, the liability piece, because I want to make sure that the professionals are telling us what needs or not need to be done. They looked at that, Tom, and they looked at also making it one way. That piece of, there's a couple of areas up there, if you guys haven't looked, there's areas up there probably with a 3-foot.
Yep.
I can't believe that a kid or anyone hasn't ran a car, at least a front tire, off into that and went into that guardrail.
I tend to go left to center in that area.
Oh my gosh. You know, so I just wanted to update everybody. I mean, like I said, there'll be another meeting next week up on the hill. If any of you councilmen up on the hill want to attend, you're more than welcome to. Okay, I don't have any other announcements. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Johnny, you want to give a fire report tonight or anything?
Everybody has it.
Okay. Yeah, I
Printed it.
seen that.
He's not gonna talk twice.
Okay. All right, new business. Mr. Welton, Dowdy Road vacation ordinance. This was the ordinance talking about the first public hearing we had tonight.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. And if it pleases the Common Council for the City of Lawrenceburg, what you have in your packets is a proposed ordinance, which would be number 9-2020. This is the proposed ordinance. This is step one. We're gonna, at our next meeting, do the dedication, but tonight we have the vacation of the 2 parcels as surveyed by Archie Crouch. Those parcels are maintained by the City of Lawrenceburg. We have been engaged with NDOT, and this is the required process to vacate those parcels so that they can be used by 4Speed Inc. Attorney Anthony Smart is here on behalf of that group. And then at the next meeting, what you'll have for consideration would be the dedication to actually move the cul-de-sac. And Mike Clark is here tonight to answer any questions, but really a win-win for the use of that property, moving that cul-de-sac, and then obviously the business that we get, which already looks pretty terrific.
Any questions about this ordinance? This response? And if there is none, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 9-2020 on the first reading tonight, as long as it's in unanimous agreement by the council.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next thing you got on your list is the donation committee recommendation by the donation committee. Got one item there. Any questions regarding that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the donation committee recommendations.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And Ms. Guinevere, you want to come to the podium? I didn't know we were able to get this on the agenda for tonight. I was going to just say we were going to add it, but this is a bit of good news.
Here for more good news, everybody. Guinevere Emery, City of Lawrenceburg Communications Director. So the good news is that the City of Lawrenceburg has been awarded the AIM 2020 Community Placemaking Award for the Lawrenceburg Civic Park. This is an award that's given out annually in multiple categories based on population. The Community Placemaking Award highlights programs and projects that have been implemented and demonstrate new approaches for solving municipal challenges. Placemaking projects also demonstrate the positive impact of planning and regeneration or economic development of the physical quality of place, as well as an economic and social well-being of a community. So the nominations had to have a physical aspect, and so the Lawrenceburg Civic Park was submitted. That application had several combining elements that went into the application. It was a little wordy, but hey, it worked because Lawrenceburg was the winner. in the category of 5,001 to 20,000 population. This award will be given at the AIM Idea Summit. This will be a virtual awards presentation this year.
You really don't get anything.
So you do, actually.
Up in the air somewhere.
So the city of Lawrenceburg will be presented with a plaque. This is a statewide recognition for the Lawrenceburg Civic Park, so it's pretty amazing. There will be a video filming feature that will be presented as well that we can use to promote the city of Lawrenceburg and the Lawrenceburg Civic Park, which is of great benefit. So the areas that were focused on for this application to be considered were, again, specifically the impacts generated from the Lawrenceburg Civic Park with economic development, workforce, education, housing, quality of life initiatives, and tourism. So if you consider a wheel, there's a lot of different spokes that Lawrenceburg Civic Park has had an impact on, especially with the continued success of our events that are held at the Lawrenceburg Civic Park, Music on the River concert series, Summerfest, and concluding this year with our concert series, the Fall Music Fest. So again, congratulations. This award will be presented October 7th at the AIM Awards program, and it is sponsored by Baker Tilly, our municipal partner. So
Guess
congratulations.
everybody can join me in my office and accept the award virtually.
Virtually. So congratulations,
Just a difference
everyone.
here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, no joke, this was, there's a lot of work that went into this. Guinevere spearheaded this and did a really nice job. We've applied for these things before and not one. So what it does is, it gets you a focus on Lawrenceburg. So many times I think we think we get left behind down here a lot of times on different things. But this is a good view of us. So very good job. Thank you. Appreciate your help. Okay. I have no other new business. Yeah, Mike.
I thought you were gonna ask for old business.
No, but you are not on the agenda, so there is none.
If we could, if I could just have a motion for common council to certify the survey plans.
I don't know, can we?
Vacation.
Okay.
That's up to you
All right.
guys.
Could I ask for old business? Anybody got any old business? Oh, Mr. Clark, you got some old business?
Mr. Clark does.
What would you like now?
A motion to certify the surveys.
Okay, motion on the floor. I need any comments about that first,
Yeah.
guys?
None.
I need a motion on the floor then to certify the survey plats.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any comments from the audience?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I have something under old business
Yeah.
I would like to ask about. How's the fiber doing?
Oh, I'm sorry, fiber. Fiber is, here's the update I get. They're hooking up 4 to 5 people a day, which was a pretty big jump from what we were getting. My last count that I got, we had 62 people on the backlog list, which means that as we're getting people knocked off, more people are signing up, so that's a good thing.
Yep.
So but they're about, I would say, 6 weeks, give or take, a week or two of finishing up what I call the manufacturing piece. We're shooting for like a November 1st-ish timeframe. Then what will be left here in the city of Lawrenceburg is nothing but installs. But they're doing installs as we're finishing this up. So it's going forward. I haven't gotten any negative feedback from the product itself at all. I will tell you this, I actually had my fiber hooked up about a week ago. I haven't had any issues that I'm aware of, but then again, I may not know if I did. But my kids probably would have. But no, I haven't heard any negative feedback.
So as far as the contractor's end of it, they would be finished in November.
That's the plan at this point. It could go with, depends on weather, of course, and from rain
Correct,
or whatever. But that's pretty good.
And we've been seeing much outside of the contract that we initially agreed to, things happening that are needed, or are we pretty much on track for where we?
I haven't heard of anything, any additional things, other than what we had contracted out. I have been approached by Greendale, so that's probably for further discussion at some point, but, I have to get your guys' feelings on all that.
I'd say,
That's
I'd
the
say
update I
in
have.
November, when we're all done here, if we can let Greendale piggyback onto us, I have no problem with that. But I like to get ours done.
I told Mayor Weiss I gotta get him some numbers though, because, it's not just that easy to piggyback
Correct.
on without
Right.
any cost involved. I did tell him that we wanna work with him.
Good.
Yeah.
Heard anything from Aurora
About,
about the fiber or anything?
they've got
Had
some
some
other
people
things.
ask me
I know
some
they got-
questions about it, but.
yeah, they got some things.
Heard Aurora Lumber wants it if we work our way down 50, which we're probably almost gonna be there anyway, so.
Be close, bro.
I'd like to say too, up on the hill, Ludlow, the park, I know you go through there quite a bit. I see you, you won't ever stop and talk to me, but you slide by.
I see you.
I'll tell you, that park is really getting used a lot more than I ever seen. There's a lot of people enjoying that.
It doesn't matter what night you're up there or day.
No, it's
I
all
mean,
the time.
All the time. It's good.
But we got something else we're gonna hit you with later on, Mayor. We won't say nothing now like Donald Trump would do you.
As long as it's not a Ferris wheel.
I wish we
Okay.
could've got one of them up there. That'd been
What
pretty
happened to
neat.
the Ferris wheel idea, Lenny?
That went down with Messmore.
The only thing I can say, I heard it had to do with vibration, or I'd have pushed hard.
Any other comments from the audience? Any other comments from the audience? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to adjourn, Tommy. Oh.
Please, sir.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, everybody.